Well, happy Tuesday, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us on Up North Live Unscripted. I am Maya Engel, back in our digital studio. It's good to be back after taking a day off yesterday, and gosh, another nice day around northern Michigan. It was a little chilly this weekend. Yesterday warmed up a little bit, and today it seems even warmer, but a little cloudy. And Joe, you mentioned there's also a bit of smoke overhead around northern Michigan tonight.
Yeah, I'm looking at our weather camera, and you can kind of tell there are clouds too. But
Mhm.
if you're away from the clouds, you can see there's a little whitish look to the sky tonight with some of that smoke. It's kind of unfortunate, Maya, because the northern lights are possible tonight as well. So you always hope for that nice clear night when that happens.
Right. Shoot, and
But
of
we'll
course,
see.
last night was super clear.
It would have been really nice last night. So maybe you get a couple breaks in the clouds and the haze, possibly the northern lights. We'll talk more about that a little later. And while we do not have much rain in the forecast, Maya, there is a little bit tonight, perhaps, and tomorrow, a couple showers. So we'll take a look at radar. We'll have more on that and how long this kind of warm stretch is going to last coming up a little later.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Joe. And let's turn things over to our top story of the day. So, Traverse City Area Public Schools, that is the largest school district in northern Michigan, they are taking more steps to make sure their students are safe. So, it's part of the school district's long term safety update. And our Allie Baxter looked into what is new for the district this year.
System, again, big numbers that are very visible to local law enforcement.
It's the small things like these numbers that lead to big results.
We want to make sure that our law enforcement knows our buildings, that they're able to know exactly where things are at.
As part of a national protocol, this summer Traverse City Area Public Schools added numbers to every door at schools within the district, with the goal to expedite response time for first responders during an emergency.
Just take seconds off a situation, and again, whether that's a medical emergency or some kind of somebody that's in a building that's not supposed to be, we don't want them trying to figure out when and where and how to get in a building.
So how does it work?
Complete floor plan layout is going to have reference points to the parking lots and the streets and things of that nature.
This digital mapping of 24 schools was made possible by a state grant. First responders and dispatchers have access to it. It goes another step beyond numbering the doors.
They're able to know this is our door number 2 entrance.
They're calling out at M2, and we say, well, okay, that's the wood shop, and you got to go through the wood shop to the tech room, and that's room number 24, but that leads you into the hallway.
And so on their digital mapping system, they'll be able to see.
Turn right, and then you can go down 3 classrooms on the left.
And they know door number 2, they're able to come right here, pull up, go in, and be able to be right there.
Superintendent Van Wagner says the district is always looking for ways to keep students safe while also
trying to do what we can to make our schools as safe as possible, at the same point making them vibrant, exciting learning environments where students don't feel trapped or something where they just don't feel comfortable. So that's the work that we're trying to balance.
And our Allie Baxter is joining us live now from outside of the TCAPS building. Hi, Allie.
Hey, Maya. Yep, that's right. We are back at Glen Loomis, still out here, just so you guys can have the visual as well of the numbers behind me.
So where did this idea come from? Is this something that other schools around northern Michigan are doing by putting the numbers on the doors?
Yeah, so not just around Michigan, but it's kind of a national protocol as well. They're always nationally looking at different things that they can do for safety in schools, especially when we have unfortunate circumstances like, school shootings that do take place. They're always looking at ways, okay, well, what can we do to make that response better if we do need to be reactive? But what we're doing here is being proactive. We want to know what we can do in the, awful case that something like that does happen. And so not just across Michigan, but also across the other school districts as well. I was told today that Grand Traverse Area Catholic schools also use this numbering system on their doors as well.
So we're only in the second week of school?
Yes.
So I'm assuming this system really hasn't had to be used yet.
No, and that was something that I asked both TCAPS and Central Dispatch today. I wanted to know, hey, has this been used yet? Even for like a very minor incident, like, hey, we had an allergic reaction in the cafeteria and we were able to get there pretty quickly because of this new numbered system. And they said, to their knowledge, they haven't had to use that system yet, but just even knowing that it's here in the even most minor event, like the one I mentioned, like, hey, maybe somebody needs help in the school cafeteria. They're having an allergic reaction to something. they said that they are very confident that this system will work a lot better. And just like in that story, seconds can matter, especially in a medical emergency situation.
And so we don't really have any data about TCAPs since this is a new system, but do you know, like with other school districts who use this system, how this does help with response times?
I'm not sure exactly, like number wise, how it
Mm.
helps, but when I was talking to the Grand Traverse Sheriff's Office today and also to Central Dispatch as well, they said this makes the communication between them so much easier, especially when these officers and deputies, they're going to have the digital mapping of these schools, but not, it's really easy to look at a map, but then coming here in real life to the buildings, sometimes it's a little bit overwhelming. I know Maya, you and I both before have gone to school events for, to shoot sports or stuff like that. And it doesn't matter how familiar you are with the school. If you've never been there before, it's a little like, okay, which door do I use? Where do I go in? And that's what's going to make it so much easier for first responders to get here is if those dispatchers can tell them, hey, you need to go to door 2. That's going to be the closest to that classroom because let's see if I can point out here. Door 1 is all the way down there. So if they were responding to the administration offices right now and they're like, hey, I need to go to classroom 5A. Well, 5A is right behind me, behind door 2 over here. So if they were to go in door 1, well, now they're wasting time going through all those hallways, going all the way around when they could have just come to door 2.
So this is a system that seems like it's kind of like a common sense system. Like, why have we not had this before? Is this the first school district in northern Michigan to have this sort of system?
I think there are some other school districts as well that have implemented this. This is just one of the first things that was on TCAPS's agenda as far as school safety goes. I don't know if you remember, Maya, a couple of years ago, they hired this person with law enforcement experience who is now kind of been serving in this role of doing all their safety and school safety upgrades. And so he was here today as well, and we got to chat a little bit with him about, hey, where does this come from? And he says, well, I'm always just looking at what other schools are doing across the country. And I want to make sure that TCAPS is up to par with all the national standards, with all the state standards as well, as far as, hey, what can we be doing to make sure not only our kids are safe, but we're also having things that, like Van Wagner said, it's not making them feel like they're trapped inside, like they feel uncomfortable in any way. And this is just a small thing because it's outside the school. So the kids aren't seeing it unless they're coming and going at the morning or in the afternoon. So this is purely for first responders right here.
Are there other things that the school district is doing to update their safety plan?
Oh, no, sorry. We're just doing this. Hey, that's unscripted. It's someone here right now coming outside of door 2. And I'm sorry, Maya, what was that question?
So this is obviously a major part of their update to their school safety plan. Is there other things that TCAPS is doing to update their safety plan?
Yes, and this is part of their more long-term safety plan. They said they sent out a survey a little bit ago, just seeing, hey, what do families want? What do teachers, what do staff want? And seeing a better, more safe TCAPS. And so I did ask them, hey, what does that look like? What are the next steps? And they said they have some things in the works that they're not really ready to share yet because it's going through grant funding process and stuff like that. But the digital mapping is actually one of the things that we've kind of seen come to fruition because of the state-funded grants that was able to provide.
And Allie, while I still have you on here, I'm going to pull up our question of the day because it's related to your story. And that is, should Michigan require all schools to have digital mapping for first responders? 88% of people say yes, whereas 12% say no. And just a reminder for those of you watching, you can always scan that QR code on your screen to vote. But Allie, for those 12% of people who say no, Michigan schools shouldn't require digital mapping for first responders, what would you want to say to them?
I would say that even if it is just saving a few extra seconds, that it's worth it. Especially, you never know how much time you have in, especially a medical emergency. And kind of, we're showing it on a super small scale here at the Glenn Loomis Administration Building of, well, here's door 1 and door 2. Was there really that much of a difference if they were trying to get to one classroom? And I think there always is a difference, especially when it's someone's life that's on the line. And so that's what I guess I would say to the 12% who voted no.
Is there really any sort of, it doesn't seem like this would be something that would require a lot of funding. You kind of just need to get the stickers and put them on the doors and then have the actual software to do the mapping.
Yeah, and I would say the funding was more specifically for the digital mapping. I believe TCAPS took the initiative of being able to actually like put the numbers on the doors to correlate with that mapping. And I think it just takes like a little bit. I think it takes an expert to be able to take like the actual plans that the schools have and then translate them to this digital software that dispatchers and first responders use when they are out on a call. So I know before that we've shown some of their, laptops and the software that they have within dispatch and within first responders as well. And so this digital mapping works directly with their software so that they are able to pull it up when they do need to respond.
Anything else, Allie, that you want to mention that we haven't talked about yet?
I would say, this is still very new software. And that was something I think I said earlier during our story as well, that they haven't had a chance that they believe yet to really like see it in action. But knowing that it's there, knowing that they were able to take those proactive steps to be able to have it in place, they say makes them feel a lot better. And they've also heard really positive response from first responders as well.
Thanks so much for joining us on Unscripted, Allie. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Maya.
And again, our question today is, should Michigan require all schools to have digital mapping for first responders? So if you aren't totally sure what digital mapping is, hopefully Allie's story kind of cleared that up for you. I will show our question of the day again a little later, but let's turn things over to more national news. So of course, we are just a few hours away from the highly anticipated presidential debate between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. And one of our national correspondents, Matt Galka, he is in Philadelphia, and he is a preview of what we can expect at tonight's big event.
This is very likely the only time we'll see both candidates on the stage. No other debate has been scheduled so far. So for a lot of voters, this could be the closing argument with just 8 weeks to go before the election.
The stage is set in Philadelphia. Donald Trump and Kamala Harris in what could be their only debate in front of voters. It's somewhat uncharted territory, with Harris still introducing herself to casual voters who might not have paid attention to her term as vice president, while also making her closing pitch 2 months before November.
Kamala Harris, as people will see tonight, is for you. She's for the American people. Donald Trump is only for himself.
For Trump, it's his second general election debate this year, and his second opponent. The first debate against President Joe Biden swirled with questions about Biden's age and ability. Now, Trump's the older candidate on the attack against the younger Harris, while still hoping to tie her to the Biden administration.
Life is 20% more expensive right now for people than it was when Kamala Harris and Joe Biden took office. And you go back to Donald Trump's days in office, when he left the White House, 1.4% was the inflation rate.
Harris said in a radio interview earlier this week she's prepared for Trump's attacks and expects the former president to lie.
He plays from this really old and tired playbook, right, where there's no floor for him in terms of how low he will go.
The vice president saw a summer surge in the polls when she went to the top of the ticket, but it's a neck-and-neck race now with Trump.
No one really knows who Kamala Harris is and what her policies are. This election is not so much about Democrats and Republicans as it is about people who believe in America, believe in our founding principles.
A New York Times poll from this week says about 90% of people say they know everything they need to know about Donald Trump, but only about 71% say that about Kamala Harris, suggesting there's still a little bit of room to sway the electorate. Reporting in Philadelphia, I'm Matt Galka.
We're going to take a quick break here on Up North Live Unscripted, but when we come back, we will check in with our chief meteorologist, Joe Charlevoix. He mentioned we might see a little bit of rain tonight, and he also said that he'll tell us how long this warm stretch of weather is going to last, so you won't want to miss that. That'll be right after the break. Welcome back, everyone. Let's bring Joe back into the conversation because he mentioned that some of us might be seeing some rain tonight. So, Joe, when could we see a little bit of rain?
Yeah, I think a lot of this, I'm just looking at a radar, I'll show you in a minute here, probably after midnight, some showers. So
Okay.
some of this will fall when we're sleeping later tonight, and then a few showers tomorrow. But even if you get any rain tonight, Maya, it's not going to be a whole lot coming up here. Let's take a look at that. Let's start with radar. Here's what it looks like right now. And you can see these showers, even a couple coming on shore there near Crystal Lake around Frankfurt, there near Empire. Couple showers. I'll zoom in a little closer here. We'll take a little closer look there. A little bit of this rain here. There's Empire, Frankfurt, just north of town. A few showers. And then back across, I'll take the satellite picture off here. Back across the lake, a little bit of lightning even with a few of these showers and storms right in through here. So you can see some of the lightning strikes there north of Green Bay up into the southern part of the UP. There in Menominee County, Escanaba. So these showers will head toward northern Michigan. I mentioned earlier that the northern lights could be out tonight. There's that possibility. But again, for our area, unfortunately, we're looking at some haze and then these clouds overhead. But if you can get between them, maybe a break in the cloud cover, there's that possibility for the northern lights tonight. Let's take a look at Stormcast. So we mentioned that chance for some rain. Here's a few of these showers coming in overnight tonight. This is around 1, 2 o'clock. This looks worse than it will be. Light rain showers. And then even tomorrow, this little disturbance crosses through here, and I still think there's the chance for a little rain. Even through the mid-afternoon tomorrow, a couple drops of rain, so just be aware of that. That possibility is there. And then watch what happens Wednesday night. Heads out, and there we are Thursday with lots of sunshine. Thursday is going to be a pretty warm one as well. If you want to run out the rain totals just for fun, a lot of zeros, meaning under 1/10 of an inch of rain for any one spot. So we're not going to get a lot out of this. Meanwhile, we have Tropical Storm Francine, which should strengthen into a hurricane. There it is right now, offshore of the kind of the Texas, New Mexico, or Mexico border. This should head up toward New Orleans, west of New Orleans, making landfall sometime tomorrow, and then eventually rain itself out across the upper Midwest there around St. Louis and southern Illinois as we head toward the weekend. But I don't think here in northern Michigan we're going to get much rain out of that. There's a look at the future. You can see the spin. That's Francine. See in northern Michigan, some clouds roll in Friday into the weekend, so I think an increase in clouds, but very little rain is expected, at least in our area, for a while. So we have a dry stretch coming up. Quick look at next weekend. Maybe you have plans. It's going to be warm, mostly cloudy and warm Saturday. Sunday around northern Michigan, mostly cloudy. Same thing, pretty warm. And that warm weather is going to stick around. A lot of 80s in the forecast through next Tuesday. The other thing to note here, not a lot of rain. Very little as we move forward here. So that's kind of the extended forecast there, Maya. Just warm and pretty quiet overall, the theme here over the next week or so.
Mm-hmm. And pretty dry.
Yeah, dry weather as well.
All right, thanks so much, Joe, for that. We are going to take another quick commercial break, but sports is next. We'll check in with Sports Director Harrison Beebe in just a couple minutes. Stay with us. Welcome back, everyone. Let's talk some sports with our sportsman, Harrison Beebe. And gosh, Harrison, it was a very busy weekend of football. And it's always kind of sad that first day after the first weekend of football when there's no games on. But luckily, we have some baseball happening. And Harrison, it would be nice if we could actually hear you talk instead of just see your mouth move. But I might just be a little picky.
How about now? Yeah,
Okay, there we go.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, Parker Meadows had a leadoff homer for the Tigers. They're up 1-0 already on the Rockies. And these are meaningful baseball games in September. Maya, I think you have access to the wild card standings at the very moment. Tigers 3 games back in Minnesota. Maya, I did some research. The last time they were this close to a wild card at near the end of the season, 2016. So it's been 8 years since meaningful September baseball has been played in the city of Detroit. And a couple that along with meaningful football, that's, what better gift for fall could you ask for, to have meaningful Lions games and a Tiger run that's driving. A couple that with the Red Wings going on a good run in the spring.
Yeah.
I don't want to proclaim Motor City Sports as being back, but there's definitely excitement that's back. Now we just need the Pistons to show
I was
up.
about to say, let's not forget about the Pistons. They have some work.
Well, honestly, and you know me, I love the Pistons. They're probably my favorite team of the 4. I'll for Detroit's sake, I'll take 3 of the 4 playing competitively down the stretch, as a way to signal that Detroit sports are in some way, shape, or form back. So you have the Tigers with 18 games to go, or 3 back. They've got 3 with the Rockies starting tonight. So we will see what happens. Minnesota has not played very well in the last month or so. So there is a puncher's chance here. It's asking a lot. They don't play the Twins anymore this season, which is kind of unfortunate. They play the Royals 3 times next week, so that would have been a great team to be in that final spot. But hey, important baseball games in September. It adds a little more fun to the end of the season, which as Tiger fans we're not used to compared to the last handful of years.
I was about to say that. It's just nice to have some exciting games, and it's nice to have fun watching the Tigers again. Like you said, it's been a while since we've experienced this, so we're due.
And we're pretty sure we're going to get a Cy Young winner this season as well. So a lot of optimism around this baseball team, no matter what happens.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks so much, Harrison, for that sports update. We're going to take another quick break, but we'll be back in just a few minutes. Let's take one last look at our live results for a question of the day before we go. Today's question is, should Michigan require all schools to have digital mapping for first responders? 87% of people say yes, 13% say no. If you haven't voted yet, you can scan that QR code on your screen right now. That'll take you to the page where you can vote. And in case you missed earlier on in the show where we showed our reporter Allie Baxter's story on this is a system that many schools across the country are using and that Traverse City area public schools just implemented to try to keep their students safe. So if you missed her story and you're a little confused about digital mapping, you can head to our website, UpNorthLive.com, and you can get all caught up on that. But that'll do it for Unscripted tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Take care, everyone.